Before we continue building our custom theme, we have a few miscellaneous edits and updates that we should take care of to ensure that our website will function and make it easier for us to continue working with our custom themes. What we're going to be looking at is we're going to look at the theme.json file and add a few important items. I'm going to show you how you can turn on debugging, and because we are using a mixture of the WordPress editor plus modifying some of the code files, it's probably a good idea to make sure we don't have any errors, and we're going to adjust our layout styles. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, we'll work off of our theme.json file. We've made a couple of modifications to this file, but I did want to point out a few important things. Primarily, this is the theme.json file that has been provided by the edits that we've made in the WordPress editor, and thanks to the help of using the Create Block Theme plugin. However, if you've worked with theme.json before, you may recall that generally the theme.json contains the version and the schema. While our website is working correctly, it's a good idea to add the version and the schema. If you're using WordPress 6.5 or above, this was the version of WordPress which was released in March 2024, you'll want to use version 3. This includes support for nested settings and more styling features. I'm going to go ahead and add these, and these typically will go right at the beginning of your theme.json file. So before my settings, I'm going to add version 3 and schema, and then I'll use this URL, https://schemas.wp.org/wp/6.8/theme.json. It is best practice to use version 3 when you're working with WordPress 6.5 or above. The reason that our website worked without this is because if no version is specified, WordPress assumes version 2. This fallback behavior is built in to keep older or minimal themes functioning without throwing errors. So technically it will work, but it's not best practice. We want to include the version number and the schema because this will prevent no surprises with future updates, and the proper schema will allow validation tools in IDEs to offer helpful suggestions when we use IDEs to code our pages. This also ensures clarity for collaborators, especially when you're working in a team or with an agency. The Create Block Theme plugin generates the minimal theme.json file, and as of right now, it doesn't add version or schema. This is intentional since the generated theme still works because WordPress defaults to version 2. However, it is best practice for future-proofing and clarity to add these. The other element that I'm going to change inside of my theme.json file is I want to prevent the default WordPress color palette from showing. If I go to any of my posts or pages and I click on something and open up my color palette, you will see that the first color palette is our theme-based color palette. This, of course, is what we made earlier in the class, and we still have the ability to use the color picker and pick any color that we want. However, the default WordPress color palette is also going to show. I would prefer the default WordPress color palette to not be present since I don't really want these options to be here. We can go ahead and prevent this from showing by augmenting our theme.json file. What we need to do is find the color object under settings, and inside of the color object, you're going to go ahead and you're going to add the following code. The first line of code that we're going to add is going to be custom true. This will just ensure that the color picker will be enabled so that the user can pick their own colors. The next thing that we want to do is we want to disable the default colors. In order to do that, we're going to add the following code. Default palette, and we'll set its value to false. Now that I have this in place, I'm going to save theme.json. We'll go back to the front end portion of WordPress and I'll just refresh my page. Now you can see if I click on my colors, I only have my custom colors present, but I'm still able to use the color picker to pick any sort of custom color if that's something that I want to do. I prefer to set up my themes in this way, as I only want to give users options for the colors that I intend them to use. The next item that we want to alter is we want to turn debugging on. Enabling debugging in WordPress will help you to identify and fix problems by showing detailed error messages, warnings, and notices during development. It's a critical tool when you're building themes, plugins, or troubleshooting issues. In order to enable debugging, you're going to need to find the wp-config.php file. This is not located in your theme folder, but rather in the root folder of your WordPress installation. So here is my wp-config.php file. I'm going to go ahead and open this in my editor. And in order to change this, you're going to need to scroll down on this page and find the line of code that says define wp debug false. This is the default value for this particular element. We're going to need to change this to true. Then you'll simply save the page. It is worth mentioning that if you do change this, you're going to want to remember to set it back to false before you actually publish the website. You don't want any errors to be shown on the website once it's live, but during development, it can be very helpful. So now that this is set to true, if I go into my functions.php file, and if I intentionally break something, so I'm just going to remove this parenthesis, I'm going to save my functions file. If I go back out to WordPress, and if we reload the page, and this can be the back end or the front end of our WordPress website, you're going to see that the website is no longer going to display, but rather I'm going to see this error. It's going to let me know that there's a parse error, and it's going to tell me some information. You can see that it's telling me that it's expecting parentheses, and it actually tells me the line number. So this is very useful information. If we go back to our code editor, it just so happens that line 43 is where the mistake is. It told me there was a problem on line 44, and that's probably because it just wasn't finding the closing parentheses for register block. So it might not tell you the exact line number, but usually it'll get something fairly close. If I simply add the parentheses back and revisit the browser and we'll reload the page, everything works fine. And this is true in both the front end and back end version of WordPress. Do keep in mind that you will never want to have debug set to true on a live production site, as it could expose sensitive information. So make sure that you set this back to false if this is something that you do find helpful while you're developing your website. The next set of changes that I want to make are going to be something that I'll do inside the WordPress editor. I'm going to go into Appearance, Editor, Styles, and this time we're going to go to Layout. All I want to do is augment my content width. Currently, the content width is set to 620, and I just find this to be a little bit narrow, especially if eventually I'm going to perhaps want to use multiple columns or augment the way my website is laid out. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. We'll just update this to 960 for the content width. I'm going to change wide width to 1200 pixels. In addition, I'm going to add a little bit of padding. The reason that I always like to add padding is because when my site displays on a mobile screen, I really don't like the text to be right next to the edge. I find that it just decreases legibility in general. So I always like to add a little bit of padding. I'll go ahead and plug in a value. I'm just going to make this 1 rem for the right and the left, and everything else I'll leave at the defaults. I'll go ahead and click review one change. I'll save the changes. And now if we refresh our website, you'll see I get a little bit of padding. And now my page content is going to display at a wider width. I also want to remind you that if you do make any of these changes, these sort of changes are not being altered in our theme.json file. They're currently just existing in the database. So if this is something that you want to more permanently change, you'll want to roll the changes into the theme.json. I'm still working on many of the edits for my website, so I'm not going to do that right now, but I will do it at a later point in time. Now that we've done those changes, we're ready to move on for the next step of our website. We'll do that in the upcoming lecture.